Hello, this is Jomo Kenyatta, and you're listening to Black Mystery.
So, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't even be talking about illegal immigration, Chris. You wouldn't even be talking about it. This was not a subject that was on anybody's mind until I brought it up at my announcement.
Due to the staunchy photos of Ms. Trump on the cover of the New York Post, she is now the center of a scandal accusing her of being an undocumented worker. There have been many reports surfacing in response to this cover story, and I have rated to see if any will report her as an undocumented worker, illegal immigrant, visa fraud, tax fraud, and media bartering. Instead, I have heard later reports excusing her of not violating any immigration laws because, quote, she was not paid, and therefore no harm was done.
Trump insists she got her visa stamped every few months. If that's accurate, it would mean she had a type of visa, possibly a tourist visa, that needs to be updated periodically. But that type of visa does not allow working in the United States. The type of visa that does allow work is called H-1B. And the man who discovered Melania tells CNN he didn't sponsor her for an H-1B until 1996, a year after this racy photo shoot. But there's a caveat. The photographer behind the camera at the shoot, Yar Ale de Bosville, says Melania was a young model waiting for a big break, so she didn't get paid, which would mean she didn't violate any immigration laws.
We were making this kind of magazine to have exposure, and this exposure was bringing you to the next level to have catalog, campaign, and everything.
So Melania was not paid for this photo shoot, you say?
No. Nobody's paying. Nobody's paid.
If that non-paid photo shoot was the only work she did before getting an H-1B visa, she wouldn't have broken any laws.
All right, you heard the clip. She was not paid, so she was in the clear. But is it truly that simple? What the photographer and model did in this case is called media bartering. In 2007, there was a similar case heard in Canada immigration court, where a person has volunteered, quote, volunteered. And the conclusion of that case, the court found that the person was in violation of immigration laws and therefore had to be deported. The court found that, quote, it did not matter that he was not being paid. The court held that the person was engaging in the performance of an activity in direct competition with the activities of Canadians and permanent residents in the Canadian labor market. In other words, his actions of working, even for free for the time being, competed with the ability of the citizens and the permanent residents to work, which was prohibited under the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act.
We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
The Trump presidential campaign has been built on a slogan about building walls to protect the American workforce from undocumented workers. However, Mr. Trump's own wife is now being accused of being the same. If so, this would be a case of the pot calling the kettle black. Some may not be familiar with what is bartering. Here was a small clip I found on YouTube regarding an explanation of bartering.
The tricky part about bartering is that there's no cash that trades hands. It's usually services for services. So how do we value those services? Do I have income? What's the amount? When I provide, say, a tax return for someone, I know what the market value is. Let's just say it's $350. I know that when I provide that service, that I'm looking to get $350 of services back from the person that I'm bartering with. That, according to the Internal Revenue Code, is taxable income. Taxable income. A lot of people don't report it because there's no cash that trades hands. And that is incorrect. And that is incorrect. But a lot of times you can report that bartering income without ever having any tax effect. Here's the example. I prepare a tax return for a videographer that does videos for me. I report that income.
You have some law firms warning in regards of tax issues with bartering photography services, recognizing it as an income. So, is Ms. Trump undocumented? Was she an undocumented worker, which would have caused a domino effect, fruit of a poisonous tree, a domino effect that would have tainted her present citizenship and the process thereafter applying for permanent visa? You heard it here first from Black Mystery. In relation to the Ms. Trump immigration accusations and charges, the analogy of utilizing the Canadian immigration court case, and two, the undocumented bartering prohibitions. So, is Ms. Trump undocumented? Was she an undocumented worker? I will leave you, the viewers, to decide. Post down below in the comment. This is Jomo Kenyatta signing out, and you've been listening to Black Mystery.